genuinely think that when someone you love dies, that a part of yourself dies with them, and you just have to try and find something to replace the part of you that's no longer there. It's a hard thing to do. Just, how can you possibly move on when something like that happened? I think it's very important that when you move on, you look back as well, because it's very important to look at your memories. You know, remember all the good times, bad times, just everything. You know, the time you spent with the person you loved. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing you leave behind is memories. This the impression you have on the people you spent your life with. That's what's most important. So it's good to just always look back at those memories from time to time and just be glad that you had the opportunity to spend time with them. Even if it hurts, I think it's vital that you take the time to just like look back in memories and just talk about times you had and just everything like that, because it does help. It really does help. It does. I mean, you owe it to them as well, like to keep them alive, because a person never really dies if they're remembered. If you remember them, then they're not gone. They'll always be a part of you. They'll always be in here and in here, and that's good. But growing up, I remember my granddad was like my best mate, pretty much. I'd always like spend my weekends around my grandparents' house. Me and him, we just muck about. We just go out in the garden, just like playing tag, playing hide and seek, just driving my nan crazy, just like laughing, just living life, loving it. It was great. It was great times. So the happiest moments of my life. I remember in 2009, my nan died. And that really affected my granddad. He was a lot colder, a lot more distant. He still tried to laugh. He still tried to love life, but you could tell there was pain behind his smile and behind his eyes. And it's never the same since then. And it was like me and him, we sort of like grew apart a little bit. I mean, we were still close, but it just wasn't the way it was. And it's a shame, really. It was a shame. But I remember, like a couple months before my granddad passed away, we got a lot closer again. And I'm just thankful that before my granddad died, me and him we were closer than we ever were, and we're on the same page. And I'm just so thankful for that, because honestly, if things had ended bad between us, I don't know how I would have coped. But it's just the fact that we were able to like understand each other again before he died. It was like there was some closure there, and that helped me a lot. But still didn't make it any easier when he died. And my granddad had a fall, and he broke his hip, and he had to go to hospital, and it's quite serious. Me and my mum, we were just really, really worried about it. Just worried what was going to happen. But they fixed his hip and everything, and he was all right. And he came out of hospital, and he had to have one of those walkers, and he was using that. But he was getting better though. He was doing good. He was walking more and more every day, and it was great. And he was living in this flat at the time. It wasn't the greatest of flats. It wasn't very good for him, so we were going to move him out to a nice little bungalow, and there was a nice couple next door, and we thought this would be good for him, he'll like it there. And so we had hope that things were going to get a lot better. He was going to like not have to use the walker anymore. He'd be able to like walk on his own again, and he'd be in a nice place. It was good. I remember I mean, it was like in the process of like moving his stuff across from the flat to the bungalow, and it was like going well. And then next thing he had a stroke, and then 2 months after he'd left the hospital with the broken hip, he was back in the hospital again. And this time, he didn't come out. I think that's just what made it hit so hard, is the fact that we had the hope that things were going to get better for him, that we were going to move him into this new bungalow, the nice neighbours, he was going to be somewhere comfortable, somewhere, he's going to be safe and around good people. And it just all got snatched away. It got snatched away from us. And that just made it all the worse. Just thinking about what could have been. I remember after my granddad died, I was in a terrible state. Just didn't know what to do with myself. I was like lying on the sofa, just staring up at the ceiling some days, because I just didn't know what to do with myself and how to come to terms with the realisation of what had happened. It was just weird. It's like almost like the world just wasn't the same. It was like everything was just slightly different. I don't know. It's a hard feeling to explain, but it's like nothing seemed the same as it was. Everything just seemed slightly different. I just didn't know how to deal with that. It's just really weird. It's a really weird feeling. I mean, Doctor Who is a big part of what helped me get through, those bad few months after my granddad died. And there was one thing I remember. It was like the last Christmas I spent with my granddad. We watched the 2016 Christmas special of Doctor Who, The Return of Doctor Mysterio, and it wasn't like the greatest of specials, but there was like one little speech that Peter Capaldi delivered towards the end of the episode that just, that really meant a lot to me after my granddad dying, where he says that times end, and this all was sad, but about everything ending, but then everything begins again, and that's always happy. You just got to be happy, and it's very true. Things end, but things do begin again. That's and although you lose things in life, you gain new things. Chapters close, and then new chapters start, and you just gotta go with it. You gotta move on. Doctor Who really taught me how to overcome things. It really helped me out with like seeing death and everything and losing people, and it helped me to get through that. And that's the power of like TV shows and movies. It can do that. It can really help you get through. And I guess that's partly what inspired me to like start making films in a way. Just to get my messages across, and just to help other people who might be going through similar stuff. And I think having the power to be able to do that is it is a powerful thing. It is. I really feel like I'm starting to find my purpose in life now, and that's great. And although it's been like a year and a half since my granddad died, I still have bad days, but everyone has their good days and bad days. That's just the way it is. But I'll definitely say I've had a lot more bad days than some people, but having like a lot of bad days, it's just made the good days just so much more better. I've been able to appreciate them more when they've come along. That's good. And for the first time in a while, the world's starting to feel right again. The world's starting to make sense again. And I feel like I am ready to move on, but I'm still gonna have bad days. I'm still gonna have days where I ain't gonna feel too good, but that's just the way it goes.